he was a lot different from my other uncles, his brothers, because he would tell you straight up stuff. One thing I really appreciated about him was he really focused on education, and he focused on people being responsible for their own actions and not, you know, whining and crying, who did this to me and why. That was something that was, I thought, needed, especially for our family, because people tend to blame everybody else for their circumstances. And I, like him, believe we are in control of our own destiny. We make our lives what they are. We make our own choices. And whether we make what we consider good or bad choices, we should just deal with it, you know, not whine about it, but make the best of it and keep going. But the best thing I remember about Uncle Peter is our talks. I used to come down and spend days with him just to stay. And we'd have nice discussions. And I really am grateful that I got to get to know him personally as a person, not as a title, in his later days when I could really appreciate him. And to see his wisdom and his point of view, which was very different from the regular mainstream. Yeah, he was a good guy, and he really was about helping those who were trying that needed help, rather than enabling people, as sometimes we tend to do out of love. And he had a bad bark, but he had a really sweet heart. And that was my Uncle Peter.
Well, as it relates to Uncle Peter and a favorite moment, there have been so many. I would probably say one of the best moments that I've had with him is when he came over to my house when I was living in Cheverly, Maryland, and I needed to do some renovations to the house. So I asked Uncle Peter, I said, hey, you know, I need to do these renovations and so forth. What are your thoughts? So he spurred off all these different things. He said, oh, you can do it yourself. And of course I looked at him and said, really? And he said, well, yeah, you know, you can, you know, go get the materials and we can take care of it ourselves. I said, Uncle Peter, we're not doing anything. I'm going to hire someone to do it. And I said, we got to get a license and all this other stuff. It's like, no, you don't. Who's going to know? And then I said, well, at the end of the day, Uncle Peter, I said, thanks for the advice, but this is probably one of the few times I'm going to say thanks for no thanks.
Peter was in the hospital for like 3 months, and so you know, we were trying to encourage him to eat, and so you know, we were trying to coax him to eat. You eat, you get stronger. We want you to get stronger so you can be able to get up and walk. And so one day he said, well, Marian, it's just like this. If you put it in, you gotta put it out. And he said, the bathroom's right there. Why can't I just get up, go to the bathroom? So that was his big issue with Eden. And so when he told me that, he kept saying he wanted to get up and go to the toilet. He didn't want to sit on the bedpan. He didn't want to wear diapers. So we fussed and fussed about Eden, but that was his reason, the reason why he wasn't eating. So.
My goodness, sometimes you know, I had to, well, it took me a while, but I understood I could not get into a conversation with him about politics or religion. I never actually heard him say he was an atheist, but he would like, how can you prove there's a God, that kind of thing. He did tell me the first time when he first got to the hospital that Marianne prayed for him, and he seemed happy about it. And I thought, wow, he thought he was happy about it. And so, and then, you know, I prayed for him, and then Aunt Caroline came, you know, there toward the very end, and she prayed for Uncle Peter and asked him to accept the Lord and Savior. He will save you. And she said, but you've got to say, Lord, please save me. I believe in you. And he did. He said it, you know, he said it. So at the, you know, so we went outside. Aunt Caroline was just crying. I mean, she was just crying. She was so happy. And she said, I never thought he would ever accept Jesus Christ as his Lord and Savior. I said I didn't either, but we're so glad that he did. So I was so happy about, you know, about that. So I believe that he is okay.
My fondest memory of Uncle Peter is that, you know, he felt family was important. And he tried, you know, he tried very hard to show everyone that family is important, and just keeping up traditions and just making sure that you're there for people, because he was there for all of us. We can all say that. In some way, he was there for us. And I'm gonna miss him. I'm gonna miss him dearly, because to me, he's one of the older people in the generations that know the importance and value of family. When we were younger as children, he would come over the house, and I remember Buddy would run up to him, and he, you know, he'd say, "How you doing, little one?" or something like that. And he commented about his height. And he told Buddy to put salt in his shoes, and, you know, it'll make him grow. And lo and behold, Buddy actually did it. And he grew.
One of my fondest memories of Uncle Peter, growing up in Washington, D.C. as a young child, as my father passed away when I was very young, is Uncle Peter would come over and pick me and my brother Gordiel up and take us to a baseball game to see the Washington Senators. One thing I always remember about Uncle Peter was everywhere you went, everywhere he was, baseball season was playing on the radio or on the television. And we just loved going to his house in PG County.
I remember Uncle Peter many years ago when I first joined the family. He was always very open and included me in, and always made me feel like I was a part of them, and so I really appreciated that. I enjoyed visiting him in his house, and I enjoyed his many debates. That's actually one thing that I enjoyed about him, is his strong mind and how he shared his opinions and he backed them, and he enjoyed having a lively discussion. And through the years, every time he came to visit, I enjoyed having discussions with him. And I particularly enjoyed the way he cared for my children. When he came, he made them feel special, and always enjoyed hearing them, all about them, what they were up to, and wanted to hear them perform, sing, or do skits for him. And he really thoroughly enjoyed that, and we always enjoyed our time with him.
Like, whenever I would see Uncle Peter, or whenever he would see my sisters, like, first thing he would always say would be, "Oh my goodness!" He was always so happy to see, like, us. It was such a special occasion. Uncle Peter always supported all of us in, like, many different ways, which was really, really cool. He'll definitely be missed. We all love him very much. Special to everyone. Yeah.
Something that I will always remember is how, even though we might have had differing beliefs, he still supported me during high school whenever I would go on mission trips, and whenever my sister would go on mission trips, he would donate and support our trips. So I will always remember that and appreciate how kind and generous he was. He was definitely loved, and I will miss him.
Just every time I saw Uncle Peter, he was just so vibrant and just had such a positive energy about him. It was like a breath of fresh air. He came to my high school graduation. I was so excited to see him. He was always just such a big support system, so I'm really gonna miss him.
So we all knew that Uncle Peter was so extremely generous, but my experience with that is I'm currently starting a film company, and I was thinking back and I'm like, wow, that was seeded, you know, my desires of that were sort of seeded by something that Uncle Peter had done about probably 10 years ago. he came to visit us, and he brought, for some reason he had his video camera with him, and I was intrigued. I was asking him all these questions about his camera, and then a week later I get in the camera in the mail, and I'm like, what? That's crazy. So you know, I got all into videography, and I was filming all my first YouTube videos with that camera, and I still have the camera. And yeah, so now I'm you know, pursuing that as a career, and that really was brought about by the generosity of Uncle Peter. So I love him so much, and I'm really gonna miss him.